Let's get back to Team Talk on ESPN Radio 1017, The Team. We are taking your calls at 994-1017. That's 994-1017. Now, Team Talk on ESPN Radio 1017, The Team.
Thank you for listening to Team Talk on 1017 The Team, your English language flagship station for New Mexico United. We'll have about 6 hours of coverage starting at 4 o'clock on Saturday as United is on the road. No surprise there, right? At Colorado Springs, they play the Switchbacks. Game is at 6, but we've got extended pre-match coverage, plus, of course, the Curse Collins show following the match. And now joining us is the head coach and technical director of New Mexico United. Troy, it is a pleasure to have you on this afternoon. Thanks for your time.
Yeah, appreciate you having me on, man. Always a pleasure to be with you, and look forward to this conversation.
Same here. All right, let's get to it, man. On March 7th, you lost 1-0, a hard-fought match in Austin, and since then, you've played 8 games and have only lost 1. I know this recent run where you've gotten 9 points in 3 matches has been an amazing stretch, but this whole stretch that your team has performed at the level you have has been really, really extraordinarily impressive, Coach.
Well, I appreciate that, and I think to your point, the first place you have to start is the players. The players have made a decision to embrace what these challenges are that we have in front of them, and they've done it in a fashion that, in a lot of ways, is unprecedented by the results that they've been able to get on the road. And I said this earlier today: you have these types of results on the road in a normal environment, and it's certainly unique and special. Let alone, again, the challenges of just being in a period of time where we don't have home matches currently and maybe in the foreseeable future, and they're able to handle it with the utmost class and try to make the most of, again, really challenging circumstances.
The integrity that the team has played with as well has been unbelievable. It's a combination of humility and at the same time confidence. And they continue to just take one game at a time. That's a unique thing that we just can't take for granted, Coach.
Yeah, and I don't think that our community especially has. I feel like our community has fully supported us, and they always do, but they've supported us in a way this year that's recognizing how difficult these circumstances are, and being so appreciative of the performances that these players are putting on for them in a lot of ways to try to give some reprieve to the COVID circumstances that we're under, all the social injustice that's going on in our world, and you get for 2 hours to remove yourself from that, watching a New Mexico United match and to see them represent the state in the way that they do and represent our community here in Albuquerque in such a special way that they do is again really, really all the testament and all the credit goes to the players for handling it in just such a class fashion.
Well, one of the things they mentioned today is, although as much as they miss the fans, the fans have continued to reach out and support the team. You guys are getting care packages and a variety of other things from your fan base.
Yeah, that's exactly right, and that's unique to, I think, any other club in not only USL, MLS, any club in North America to have that type of connection with our supporters, and that gives you that little boost that you might need, that little extra incentive, knowing that someone's put in that type of time to put together the last care package I got had a New Mexico United inspired blanket that you could tell was handmade. It was black and yellow. It's perfect for the bus. Kept me nice and warm on a very cold bus at 2 a.m. whenever we're driving, wherever we're driving in the Southwest right now.
Right, no doubt about it. We've got the head coach and technical director of New Mexico United, Troy Lesesne, on here on Team Talk. And Coach, I'll tell you, there was a play in the first 2.5 minutes of your first game against Colorado Springs since the rejoin, and they had they panned to the sidelines. Your team had a very early opportunity, and I guess didn't execute to the way you wanted it. But like they showed you on the sideline, there you were in your mask, in your suit, And like it was like you were in mid-season form. That's the mentality you guys took since the very beginning when you got to start playing games again.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm sure at times that form you're alluding to that I'm in is not well received by the players because we've wanted to keep our foot on the gas, the whole time and not let a moment go by that we have any kind of regret for. I think we can only look at the Phoenix match and say, you know what, we maybe got tired at 3-2 and got punished for some mistakes that we made, but those were correctable mistakes. And outside of that match in particular, I think that the players have really tried to just capitalize on every opportunity we have to play matches again and try to go and get results. So we have a long way to go still, Joe, too. I mean, we're a little over the halfway point of this particular season with only 16 matches, and we have 9 played so far. So we don't want to pat ourselves on the back. We want to just kind of try to keep our head down, and that idea of humility that word is really displayed by how you continue to respond and continue to perform in our line of business.
Yeah, and you an example of you having the balance of doing what's best for the team, but understanding the players. An example of that was the game on Wednesday at Salt Lake, where Chris Wehan wants to be in on every minute of every game. For example, you chose to use a different starting lineup in that game, but it shows the depth that your team brings to the table.
That's exactly right. I love the roster that we have this season. We're really fortunate to have such a deep roster. And who would sit Chris Wehan when he scored 5 goals in 6 games? But that tells you, one, that I felt like he needed a little bit of a rest, but then 2, the faith and the confidence that I have in the rest of the group to go out and get it done. And so I was really happy to see Chris back in the lineup on Saturday and score another goal. So six goals in 7 matches, and he's sitting on all cylinders right now, and he's a top player in our league, and I think he can move on to the MLS. He's been there before, but he deserves another chance, and I think the form he's currently in, if he can continue that, he's going to get more eyes on him, and that's a good thing for him. He deserves that.
Yeah, you mentioned there's still 7 matches to go in the regular season, correct, Coach?
Exactly. Yeah,
yes,
9 matches in, 7 to go.
Yep, 19 points right now at the top of Group C. El Paso in second with 12. So a lot of matches to be played, and this postseason is something you guys tasted last year. It's also something that you as a player in college, as a coach in college, and now as a player in the pros and a coach in the pros, have gotten a chance to experience. I got to ask you, I know you're from West Columbia, South Carolina, and you immersed yourself, obviously, in soccer growing up because you wouldn't have gotten a scholarship to the College of Charleston and been an All-American over there as well. Did you play a variety of sports growing up, or was it mostly soccer?
Variety of sports up until I was probably 15, and then at that point when I was 15, it was all soccer all the time. But yeah, I played a number of sports. Played basketball, believe it or not, because I'm quite vertically challenged as someone that's 5'7". So I definitely stopped. I stopped playing that whenever I was my friends were hitting their growth spurt. But basketball, I played a lot of. Played tennis, played golf. Never really got into baseball or football, but soccer was always, that was the top priority for me since I was 5-6 years old.
Yeah, no surprise, actually, to me, Coach, that you handled yourself out on the basketball court, because I've seen you at practice, with these guys, and you're getting after it. Not that, you're only 36, of course, that's no surprise, but no, that does not surprise me. And you mentioned in that group of things, golf. I know how busy you are. Have you had a chance to golf much since you've come to New Mexico, or did you kind of lay off of that, once you committed to soccer? Do you play here and there?
I haven't played in 2 years, and that if you look at the timeline of that, that's about when I was named the head coach of New Mexico United.
I got you.
So I would love to get out for a round, and I've heard there's beautiful courses here in and around our area. So I'd love to. I'm not great, but I'd love to get back out there.
I'm sure there will be no shortage of offers, Coach, after you get through this season, which is hopefully a long time from now. But also growing up in South Carolina, you right there by the University of South Carolina, the Gamecocks, of course, Clemson, another school in South Carolina, and I know your goalie has a lot to say about Clemson. But were you a Gamecock fan growing up?
A huge South Carolina fan.
Yeah.
I went to all the Gamecock football games. I went to all the Gamecock soccer games that I went to. South Carolina, University of South Carolina had players like Clint Mathis and Josh Wolf. I mean, some big players that played in World Cups.
Right.
So I got to go there as a young kid and watch them. That's Clemson and South Carolina. They're such big universities, but they're phenomenal soccer programs. I actually didn't have really even a sniff at an opportunity because they were hitting on a different level than probably where I was as a youth player. And the College of Charleston actually was the team that gave me an opportunity. And I think that's kind of the story of my playing career as well as my coaching career. And I went and tried to make the most of that as a player at the College of Charleston, and similar now as a young head coach. Peter saw something in me that, believe me, I got turned down at a lot of other places. And so you just try to go and put your best foot forward. And luckily we've been able to do that here. We got again, more work to do here.
Yeah, as a player, even in the pros, though, after College of Charleston, at the Charleston Battery, you guys made it to the semifinals of the USL. So these things have all obviously, given you, that kind of focus for the importance of advancing as far as you can. Sure.
Yeah, and I think that's an important point for the mentality that we have here in this club is you want to be a club that is single-minded towards trying to perform at the highest level and get results so that you can be a part of the playoffs and that you can be in the conversation and win a championship. Because that's, at the end of the day, that's what we're measured on in a lot of ways. So you have to have that mentality, and I think that starts from our owner. Our owner is a winner, and then it permeates down to me. It permeates to the players, and we want to bring a championship to New Mexico ultimately.
Well, you're certainly performing at a very high level, and it'll pay dividends hopefully down the road. I did mention, you don't single out any players, as you mentioned, top to bottom of your roster, but your goalkeeper, Cody Mizell, he was an All-American player at Clemson, and just the guy that brings swagger and leadership and confidence. Talk about him a little bit. I know you've known him for a long time, and he's got to just be such a security. Speaking of blankets, a security blanket for you, Coach.
Yeah, you described Cody really well, actually. So I had him for 2 seasons in Charlotte, and he was one of the first signings that I really went after and that I wanted. And coming out of Tampa, I went really hard to try to have Cody sign with New Mexico United, and he's not only followed through and been a very good goalkeeper for us. I think even this year, I think he's one of the top goalkeepers in the league. And again, another guy who was in preseason with NYC FC with an MLS team, and I think he deserves an opportunity at the next level. He's earning that. But his energy every day, Joe, it lifts everybody up in the locker room every day. He's the first one in. He's the first one to put music on. And he's the first one to go out also on the training ground and raise the level and compete to where if you're not bringing the same level of energy he is, he's going to let you know about it.
And he exemplifies that, on the field too, every minute of every match. And so, it's been terrific. Thank you so much, Coach Lesesne. We'll definitely stay in touch in the coming weeks, and appreciate your time and getting a little to know a little bit more about you, and also hearing, of course, about the team, which is what you really like to talk about. And go get them on Saturday.
Absolutely. Thank you again for having me on, and always a pleasure, man. We'll catch up soon.
Very soon, I hope. Okay, Coach Troy Lesesne, New Mexico United. We'll be back with more Team Talk. ESPN Radio 101.7 The Team.